It's Expo week. Today we go over everything you need to know heading into the Expo and we lay out our game plans for the big weekend. This is episode 27 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is the Hockey Card Haven podcast with myself, Mike Distefano, and my co-host Anthony Santini, here to dive deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. And Christmas is here. Christmas for hockey card collectors is finally here. It's literally like the eve of it's like Christmas Eve, but for hockey card collectors. It's December 24th. It is the day before Expo, which kicks off tomorrow on Thursday. It goes all weekend long. A tremendous 4-day event we have in store this weekend. Anthony, I am ecstatic. I am so pumped and ready to go. How you feeling heading into Expo?
Oh man, whatever you're feeling right now, just double it. So however all the listeners feel right now, however they're excited for the Expo, double it. Because I've been thinking about it for a week. I've been getting ready the past month, ever since we got our booth. I'm ready to go, man. I'm fired up.
So would you say that you are more excited this year because you're setting up and it's going to be a different experience for you than you have been in other years?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even like still walking around, I always get excited. And last year in April, May, whatever that expo was in Toronto, I had so much fun, but it feels like there's an uncertainty going into this one. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, what I'm going to sell, what I'm going to see, what people are going to bring to me to sell or trade. When I go to the expo and I walk around, I kind of have a general idea of what's going to happen. I'm going to go, I'm going to have fun, walk around, talk to the people at the booth, go through bins, talk to the people that I've seen before, and pick up good cards for grading. That was usually like my idea. Now, this is a whole different ball game for me. I really don't know what's going to hit when it comes at the start of tomorrow night. I guess it's crazy how fast everything comes now, but we've been talking about this for 4 months and I feel like I couldn't be any more ready than I am. So definitely excited.
Well, let's get the listeners who are listening to the podcast, watching the podcast on YouTube or listening on Spotify. This is basically just going to be an entire preview episode, essentially, of the Toronto Sport Card Expo. Which, where is it? It's in Toronto, obviously, in Mississauga at the International Center. When is it? Tomorrow, Thursday. Preview night starts at 4 p.m., goes till 8. So it's a short little window, 4 to 8, to check out the show. And then it really, really kicks off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday from 11 to 8 p.m., Saturday 10 to 6 p.m., and then Sunday 10 till 5 p.m. And it all wraps up there with a couple of fun nights. Friday night, there's going to be a trade night. Saturday night, there's going to be a trade night. So a couple of other things that are going to be involved as well. So there's so much to do. And that's what I think is, it's not just hockey cards. That's the thing. That's what they're known for, and that's what they have the most of. But there's basketball cards, football cards, baseball cards. I mean, even if you're not a cards person, there's TCG, Pokemon stuff. There's Funko Pops. There's bobbleheads. There's jerseys and memorabilia and autographs. And athletes, they've got a bunch of athletes that are going to be there as well at the Sport Card Expo that are going to be doing signing sessions at the Autograph Pavilion. And one of them actually is going to be Spencer Horowitz, who I will have the pleasure of interviewing as well on Saturday. They've got that Q&A stage that they have every year. So I'll get to chat with Spencer Horowitz. So if you guys are there Saturday morning around noon, 11:45, kind of stop by and I'll be moderating a Q&A session with Spencer Horowitz. That'll be a lot of fun. But there's some really, really cool guys who are going to be there. I know Joe Carter is signing, longtime Blue Jay, great touch 'em all Joe, Max Domi, Bobby McMahon, a couple of guys who are going to be signing. And usually the Hall of Fame class, because it's also over Hall of Fame weekend, also usually are going to be in attendance and signing some autographs too. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of awesome people in attendance. But, it's the cards that get us going, right? That's what gets the juices flowing for guys like you and I and the people who seek out hockey card podcasts, such as those listening. So today, like I said, is going to be pretty much a primer of what to expect. And let's start off with a little. I like to do this ahead of every show. So forgive me if you guys, have been listening to this podcast or if you've been following my work when I used to write for the Hockey News. I used to write this ahead of each show as well. Kind of a 5 things everyone should know before taking on the Expo, 5 tips and tricks before going to Expo. And then we'll kind of lead it into, Anthony has 5 young guns that he has that he believes you should be taking a look at that might still be in the dollar bin. Some good value buys when it comes to cheap young guns to look for this weekend. And I threw out some AMAs. I asked people for questions, and so we got some listener questions as well. So it's a pretty jam-packed show. So let's get into things here, Anthony. And we'll start with my list. 5 things that everyone should know before taking on the Expo. And really, the first thing that I always like to tell people is have a plan for what you want to do for the weekend, right? Is there a certain player that you PC that you're looking for as specific cards or just cards in general of theirs? Are you looking to, are you an investor? Are you looking for short-term flips, for long-term plays? Are you finishing off sets, looking for some PC collection items? What are you there to do? Have an idea of what you want to do, because there are so many tables, there's so many vendors. You walk in, there's so many buildings, honestly. You can get overwhelmed very easily. If you don't have a plan, it's very easy to get lost and kind of waste your day just mindlessly walking up and down the aisles, not knowing what you want to do. And then you go home at night and you're like, man, I didn't really get what I wanted because you didn't plan for it. You figure it out afterwards that you kind of had that little stumble. So plan accordingly prior to coming to Expo, what you want to get, who you want to go after, what your goals and plans are for Expo. So, Anthony, I'm curious, like, what's your plan going into Expo? And I guess your plan's a little bit different than most because you're also going as a vendor as opposed to a pure buyer or patron. So maybe it's a little bit different, but again, you've got to have a plan. I'm curious what yours is.
Me in particular, usually my plan when I'm walking the floor is to go around, buy cards that I could grade and look through the dollar bins. That's usually my point of attack. But obviously, being a vendor now, it's a whole different ball game, like I mentioned, and being able to sell cards that I own now a little bit easier than walking up to a vendor and saying, "Hey, are you guys buying?" Which usually doesn't happen all the time for most vendors, but there are tables that will definitely buy your collection. Me in particular, I'm mostly just selling what I have. I'm gonna try and pick up a couple cards for my PC, and that just pretty much consists of anything Patrick Kane. I'll look at anything Claude Giroux when he was on the Flyers. That's the kind of players that I liked when I was growing up. But one thing that I talked about with you over the phone yesterday that I really wanted to pick up, and if you do come across one this weekend, this is kind of my goal/plan for the weekend. But I really want at one point to own an Austin Matthews future watch over the course of this
Mm.
weekend. Either it's the first deal I do or it's the last deal I do. I come out of the show with a Matthews, or I owned one at one point in the weekend because they're going for around $2,000 Canadian, which I think is a very, very fair price. And with on-site grading being there at Expo, there's a lot of opportunity. So that's my particular goal, to own Austin Matthews future watch at some point this weekend.
Did you see the news on Austin Matthews earlier today?
Yeah, I mean, big game. I guess the big bad Bruins always got them scared. I did wear this hat on purpose because I wanted to see if you were going to say something,
Oh,
but I
true.
did.
I didn't even, yeah, screw you. Oh, God, you anger me so much sometimes. Guys, this man's a Bruins fan. He's rocking a Maple Leafs hat. Like, what is that? What is that? Like, oh, you're a disgrace, an
I know
absolute
it.
disgrace to sports fandom. But I am curious, like, how much that's going to impact his market this weekend. Like
I
Austin Matthews, if he's not playing tonight. And again, it's day to day, so he could play this weekend. There's a back to back. You got Detroit on Friday, Montreal on Monday. If he plays and goes off in either one of those games, he's going to see a spike happen, throughout the weekend.
yeah.
But if he's out for a couple of games here with an upper body injury, it's not ideal timing for the hockey card market for those who have deep positions in Austin Matthews at this point, who are hoping for him to have a big week to see if they could, capitalize on some gains here. Might not happen if he's unable to go this week.
Yeah, one of the pros of the hobby, and I guess you could call it a con too, it just depends on what side of the coin you look at. Austin Matthews is a player that we know for many years has been very talented, but when you walk up to a booth, look at a card and say, you know what, he's hurt right now. Maybe I could buy him low. You have a little bit of a discussion with the dealer. That conversation in the hobby is just as valuable as a conversation to say, yeah, you know what, he might be hurt right now, but he's still this generational player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So for this weekend, I do think there will be that opportunity to say, you know what, he's hurt. He's been hurt the last 2, 3 games. And maybe people in the hobby, they do panic. And that's why when you look at it from each side of the coin, it could go either way. Yeah, maybe you want to hold him. He's done so much the past 2, 3 years. But also, people sometimes panic sell when they have a lot of overhead for a weekend. Obviously, it costs a lot to be a vendor. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna keep my eye to see if people are selling Austin Matthews low. I do have some young guns that I am bringing. I was kind of hoping that he'd be flying out of the gate for this expo, but as of right now, he's not. He's kind of just hanging around. But I really wanted to see him make a big push for the Rocket Richard. I don't think he's gonna be doing that if he's injured.
Well, possibly. I mean, we've seen this guy score a lot of goals in bunches. I still wouldn't count him out. But
Waiting on it. Waiting on
I'm
it.
saying we talk about having a plan. Like, do you have a plan for those young guns if he doesn't play this weekend and the market isn't strong? Like, is that is your plan to hold? I guess as opposed to try and move them at what would be considered not a discount price, but a lower price than maybe you anticipated earlier in the year.
I mean, I guess you could say I could put them away if I start to see prices on the show floor really drop. What I'm anticipating is to walk into the expo and seeing maybe the lowest Austin Matthews PSA 10 be around 1150 to 1200. I couldn't even imagine someone selling or stickering a PSA 10 for $1,000 just because you're in such a prime spot where even though comps are dancing around 1,050,
Yeah,
1150,
I'm gonna check right now to see what comps are at right now, but I could have sworn I saw they're trending back towards those summer pricing of
yeah.
$1,000 a pop for a PSA 10 Young Guns.
And I just don't see I don't think that that's gonna happen. I don't see anyone selling it for 1,000 this weekend. That's kinda my little bit of a hot take. If they do, though, I'll probably end up putting them away because particularly, I'm not looking to sell Austin Matthews PSA 10s at 1,000 right now. There's so much upside. We've had this conversation with Austin Matthews, generational player for the Toronto Maple Leafs, could be one of the best goal scorers of all time. There's already talks of him chasing Ovi's soon-to-be record of the most goals scored in the regular season. So I would not really be panicking too much if I was holding on to a bunch of Matthews.
So it looks like the last bids went for 815 US and the Canadian 1150. So yeah, it's about 11 to $1,200 is what you are looking
Yeah.
at right now in terms of value. But if he's injured and not playing, maybe again a chance to capitalize. If you believe in Matthews, possibly it's a good time to buy. And if he's going for about 11-15 online in person, if you got cash, you might be able to get him for 1,050 perhaps. And
Yep.
if he does turn out to be the player we all know he is and ends up going off at some point, and his shooting percentage doesn't hover at 8% like it is right now and eventually doubles to his career average of 16%, I think it'll be a worthwhile investment. So,
Yeah.
and that does lead me to my second thing to know heading into Expo weekend, and that is that cash is king, right? If someone walks up to you and it's going for, let's again use a PSA 10 Austin Matthews Young Guns as an example. It's going for, we just saw one, a 1150 was the
Yeah.
last price on eBay that it went for on bids, right? They walk up to you with, I don't know, 1100. They walk up to you with maybe 1050 cash right in front of you. You're more likely to make that sale than you would if someone said, well, I'll give you last comp, but I'll give it to you in like EMT or PayPal or something, or if you're someone who has like a
Or
Square or
Bitcoin or
MasterCard.
Zelle or something
Exactly. It's
random.
like, no, cash is king.
Or
Absolutely.
I've definitely heard, a couple crazy actually, one time someone at a show said, "I'll offer you double, but in silver coins." And I was a little bit skeptical. It was one of the most random things
I
ever,
don't know
but,
about that.
I mean, double, I mean, it sounded intriguing, but I don't think at the show this weekend, I'm really going to be interested in checking what the price of silver is in accordance to the Canadian dollar,
We need to
figuring out
fight it,
what I can
spike
sell this
down, make
for.
sure it's
Yeah,
real. Yeah, make sure it's
yeah,
real
like
too. That'd be my worry. It's not really the value. It's is the stuff real? I don't know. I don't know how to tell that stuff off the hop. But anyway, cash is king. That is the second
oh,
kind of
for sure.
thing to know. Cash is king, and they take both US and Canadian. So if you're coming up from the States, they do take USD. Not a problem. You do not have to you don't have to go and make the what's the word I'm looking, the exchange yourself at the bank. They will take American funds. Anthony, you're going to take American, I assume.
I will, and actually, that was the next point I was going to get into. I just pulled this aside, and actually, for those of you that buy the U.S. dollar or take a look at it, it's up to $1.43, $1.44 right now. So it's just ridiculous if you're looking to go Canadian to USD. If you are coming in from the States, make sure that you know that that US dollar is really valuable. Don't go walk up to an $100 sticker and hand over $100
What
US because I'm sure you
138?
know.
It's 138 right now.
Yeah, but if you go to the bank, I was at the bank just the other day and I
That's if
bought
you're
some.
buying American though.
Yeah, yeah,
Different situation. But anyways, it'll get it, I'm they everybody will look at it and they'll say it's worth $1.38.
yeah.
That's gonna
I
be
mean,
the value. Although at the election,
hey, you never know. A lot
I
could
don't know
change.
what something could happen with the dollar in the next 24 hours. We're
A lot
recording
could
Tuesday
change.
afternoon, so a lot could change depending
Either
on
way.
how that goes.
Either way, but
Um,
with the tip that I wanted to give actually to vendors, something that just kind of one of those little shower thoughts, so simple and so easy if you are a vendor that sometimes it slips your mind because you do forget it regarding cash is bring a little bit of change with you. So I did organize maybe just 20 or 30 bucks in change to have on hand. I do have a couple $5, $10 bills, a couple $5 US bills just to have change
have a
on
float.
hand.
Have a float.
Yeah, because you don't want to run into a situation where someone's buying even just a cheap card from your dollar bin. Maybe they're just picking it up. Three cards for $1. They're gonna give you $3 or they're gonna give you $5. They don't really want to pick up two more cards and you're stuck. You don't really have any change. So if you are a vendor, do yourself a favor, save yourself the headache, and just bring a little bucket of change 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe $100 of coins. Who knows? If you're a big guy where you do a bunch of sales out of your dollar bins, bring that change, and I'm sure you understand why. So that was my kind of little tidbit to have, and I actually do have some USD on hand. So to answer your question, I will be accepting USD, but I don't know. I'm definitely into Canadian right now a little bit more.
No, I prefer USD over Canadian myself. If I
Hey, if you want to give me what's it called, dollars for Apple, is that the slogan? App, what's the slogan? Do you know it? If you
what
want to give me
dollars
Apple, if you want to give
isn't
me
it?
apples for apples, maybe if there's any listeners out there, maybe I'm on an island with this one. I'm the only one that heard it. But if you want to give me one for one, Canadian for US, I'll definitely take US.
Yeah, I'll give you $20 Canadian for $20 US. Sure, go
Hey,
ahead.
that's a damn good deal.
Yeah, you give me 20 US, I'll give you 20 Canadian. All
Whoa,
day
no, I'm
long.
talking the reverse. I'll take the US. You get the Canadian. Here, I got it ready right here. I'm ready to go.
Another thing too, like when you have cash, makes things far easier to negotiate. And another little
Oh yeah.
subplot, like prices are negotiable. Sticker prices, aren't usually the bottom line. If you want to pay sticker price because you're happy with it, sure. Or if you even notice that something is actually undervalued and you know it's a good price, like pay that price because it's worth it for that card. You had a situation not too long ago where you did that. You thought that a card was it that Gunther that you paid for, and you thought it was a little underpriced, so you were like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pay him full pop what he's asking for because it's worth it. Like I don't need to, I don't need to get any more margin out of it. There's enough that's baked in there, and you just gave him exactly what he wanted, and you could do that, but. Prices are often negotiable, and sometimes people are going to over sticker, knowing that there's going to be some haggling involved in these negotiations as well. So you wouldn't believe the amount of people who I've brought to cards, and I'm sure you've been in the same boat that I've brought to card shows, and they just don't know that you can negotiate, right? Like like when you go to Walmart, you can negotiate. The price is the price. That's not the case when you're here, especially if you're paying in cash. When you're sitting there and you want to try and buy that Matthews Young Guns, you could try and negotiate for it. And having cash makes it a heck of a lot easier to do than, if you're going to try and offer up any other type of type of type of money. All right. Another tip that I always tell people, if you see a rare card that you like, buy it right away. Because there's been so many times where I've been walking the show floor, I see a card, it's a good price, and I'm hemming and hawing on it. And I say, oh, I'll come back. I'll come back, possibly. And I come back, an hour later. Sure enough, that card is gone. And it happens all the time. Now, if it's a card that is common, like a base Young Guns or something like that, this doesn't apply to those situations, I guess. But something that's more, rare, more short printed or something like that, that for certainty is the type of stuff we're talking about, right? If you're talking about a Future Watch auto patch, there's only 100 of them. Right. So that there's not going to be a whole lot of them out there. So if you see one, you want one, you're looking for one, and you see it at a price that you're comfortable with, just buy it. Because if you will try and come back to buy it at that price, it's probably going to be gone because it was a price that was worth paying. Obviously, if you were willing to, someone else is going to. So if you see it, pick it up right then and there. Buy it right away. Don't do the walk away and come back. Usually, when you get back, is gone.
And I mean, to a certain extent, too, know what you want to buy. Don't just see a rare card and snap buy it because you know it's rare. But when you walk around the show floor, you're going to see so many awesome cards that you never see on Instagram just because people don't want to post them on eBay, post them on their Instagram, post it on social media, talk about it. It's just random cards that you'll see and you're like, walk by, walk by. Oh my goodness. That's like a Wayne Gretzky limited logos with like a 6-color patch on card auto for an amazing price because this guy wants to move it. Let me think about this for the next 72 hours. It's Thursday night, and let me come back Sunday right at the end of the show and see if he still has it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that card is so gone. It's probably gone an hour after you looked at it because it's so rare, so nice for a popular player. So
Yeah.
if you know what your goal is, you know what type of players you want to get, your price range, kind of where you want to pick up cards, you'll know exactly when you see a card that fits all of those boxes for you. So if you see a nice card, just buy it. Just buy it within reason. Just buy it and
Yes.
enjoy it and
Yeah.
have fun too.
Number 4, comps are your friends.
They
This might
are
be the most important tip of all. Comps are your friends. And that's whether you are trying to buy other people's cards, whether you're buying cards off dealers, knowing what the prices are of things so that you're paying a fair market price. And also, if you're coming looking to sell your cards or trade your cards, have them comped ahead of time. Know what they're worth because let's be honest, it's a very busy day for the dealers and the vendors. They do not have time to go through your entire collection and tell you what everything is worth. It's just not it's just way too busy of a day for people to be doing that. So if you are bringing cards, and I strongly recommend it. There's a lot of, it's not just buying. There's buying, selling and trading, big part of the hobby. So if you are bringing cards, which I recommend, make sure you have them priced out and comped out ahead of time so you know exactly how much they're worth and how much you want for them and put them on the stickers. I mean, I do that all the time. Everybody knows that right away. I'm sitting there
classic.
and I go,
Classic.
the second I buy a card, boom, I've comped it and I've got the sticker on it. Boom, that's what I'm looking for. It's a negotiable price. It's not necessarily the
That's a
bottom
pretty
dollar
good
that I'm
price,
asking
actually.
for.
That's a nice
Yeah,
card.
it is a nice card. Nice little Quinn Hughes, red rainbow auto. Very nice card. Um, we could talk. We could talk possibly.
Hey, we'll try it.
But yes, so I always recommend doing that. I know when I'm setting up as a vendor, and people come up to me with cards, I'm always way more willing to deal with the people who already have their stuff priced out and know what they're looking for. And it just saves everybody a heck of a lot of time, especially on a
For
weekend
sure.
like that. So that's one reason why comps are your friends, but honestly, it's more so you don't get so you don't overpay when you're buying things. That's ultimately the biggest reason, I would say. When you're going out there and buying an Austin Matthews Young Guns, or you're going out there and you're buying a Lane Hudson Young Guns, possibly, like, are you still paying the $150 price tag that it was when it first came out? That's not what current comps are, right? That's not what the current comps are. Or are you going to go out and pay the $1,600 PSA 10 Young Guns Matthews price from a
Ooh.
year ago? That's not what current comps are. It was at one point, but it's no longer. So just because it's stickered at that does not mean that that's what the card is worth. Comps are your friends. It will help you out in the long run, especially if you are in the flipping game. That comps are your best friends in that case. So you know exactly what cards are worth, what you can buy it for, and what it can sell for. And that's always a massive, massive kind of key that I like to tell people if they're getting into the flipping and investing part of the hobby.
Yeah, use comps to your advantage because even though a dealer might try and persuade you or talk you into paying their price because, oh, this player's on the up and up, he's going to be on the power play, this card's out of 10, two of them, aren't for sale. I know the other owner, you're never going to find him, yada, yada, yada. These conversations happen all the time. I'm a prime example too. I do it and I do it maybe against myself. I do it for people all the time. It's just a good conversation to have. I don't want to sell this card because it could be cheaper, it could be more, but at the end of the day, you just want to look at comps when you're buying. Look, buddy, the comp goes for 80 bucks. I'm not paying your $150 sticker. If you want to put it out, then I don't really want any interest in buying it right now. And that's what it is. You're not really going to persuade some of these dealers into switching their prices on the spot, but you yourself, you could definitely stay away from paying some of the crazy prices. And maybe if you're listening right now and you come by my booth and you don't see a sticker you like, I want you to be able to tell me and be like, hey, man, look, comps are this, comps are that, because I am definitely open to adjusting my prices. But I know that some dealers in particular are not. So I
Yes.
don't know. I mean, keep an eye out for that. A second thing that I want to note too, and then I'll let you go, is when you have people coming in, like you mentioned, to buy cards. Let's say you walk up to a dealer and you say, hey, I'm looking to sell my collection. No price tags, no nothing in here. I don't know what anything goes for. All right, let's walk through this for half an hour and then I'll give you a good deal. All right, half an hour passes by. You've looked up all my cards. You could tell me exactly what the last 5 sales are on
Yeah.
everything. And then you go ahead and turn around and say, "You know what? Maybe these prices aren't really what I'm looking to sell at right now. I'm just going to turn around and you have a good day." You just wasted a dealer's very valuable 30 seconds at the Sports Card Expo. And there's two things that you could do after this. You could either apologize for being one of the biggest clowns ever, or you could just say right off the hop, look, I want you to help me. And if you're going to come by my booth and do that to me, I want you guys to tell me and say, hey, I have these cards. I'm looking to, get a little bit of help to gauge what they're at in price. I don't mind doing that at all. In fact, if you're listening and you think you might run into a situation like that at the expo, come by our booth, 5606. I will help you find a comp. But don't come up, walk, and say, hey, I'm looking to sell these. And then we go through the entire thing. And you're like, I'm just gonna turn around. Whatever. I'm out of here. I'll
Yeah.
see you later. Because it's just a
Totally.
big, big time waste.
Totally, totally. And if you're looking to find comps for yourself, by the way, eBay sold listings. So type in what the card that you have on eBay. So if it's an Austin Matthews PSA 10 Young Guns, type that into your search bar and then go to the sold listings tab, and then you'll find your prices there. You could also use 130point.com as well. You could search the marketplace, same thing, type in Austin Matthews Young Guns PSA 10, hit search, and then you'll see all of the prices for what they've been selling for online on the marketplaces. So that's your way to check comps so that you know how to do that. You can do that for pretty well any card out there. Sometimes it's a little difficult if it's a short printed card, one that's, out of 5 or out of 10, and maybe there's no sales to it. It is a little bit more difficult to do. Usually in that case, you look for a player of similar stature that sells for similar prices, and you can maybe use that comp as a way to do it. Or a different year of that player or something like that. So there's another way to try and find your comps. I will say this too, and we've talked about this before. Also, knowing comps ahead of time can save you a lot of time when dealing with like overpriced vendors. So a test, like I like to call it the comp test. If I see a vendor and they've got high sticker prices, sometimes it's high sticker prices just because they basically say if someone's willing to pay it, awesome, but they are willing to be flexible and work with current market values. So often if I see, for example, a Matthews PSA 10 Young Guns and I see a $2,000 sticker on it, I know it's not worth anywhere near that. So I'll ask, do you have room on this? And based on their answer, I'll have an idea of whether or not this is somebody that I'm willing to work with someone who I think that I'll be able to get good deals off of, or fair deals, not even good deals, but fair deals with. And right away, if I know the card goes for 1150 and they have a $2,000 sticker on it and they say, not much room, or, well, I could maybe knock off $100, and they're not anywhere near market value on their cards, just walk away. Don't
Yeah.
even waste your time with those people. Honestly, just walk away because it's not worth it. And there's a lot of old heads out there in the hobby that are very stubborn with the way that they think that their cards are worth. Trust me, I was at a show a week ago. There was a $2,200 sticker on a Matthews 10. And I'm like, guy, it literally goes for $1,000 less than this right now. Like, I don't understand what you're. He's like, well, I might be able to get to two, but I can't go under two. I'm like, all right, well, have a good day, sir. Walked right off. So,
Yeah.
you could do that with anything. Does that have to be, a high price card? It could be a low price card, something that the price of that card, right? The price of those, you could comp it in your head and just know. Even if you're not interested in the card, say, oh, how much is this? If they say a price that's nowhere near market value, all right, this person's out to lunch. I'm out of here. It saves you a lot of time too, because especially if you're only there for one day, there's a lot to get to. I recommend you do not waste your time with people like that.
Yeah, it's you're gonna find it, but hopefully you don't. And ultimately, I mean, me personally, I'll have my stickers a little bit higher than what I actually want, but it's not gonna be too high. So
Ooh,
hopefully you don't run
good
into
to
it.
know. Good to know, people. Anthony's willing to make some deals.
Hey,
So
we're
make
always
sure to
ready.
go in there.
Always ready.
Always ready. Ant's gonna have some good deals. I know he always does. And honestly, the last kind of tip that I like to give people, it sounds stupid, but it ain't. Hydrate, eat, and wear comfy shoes. I kid you not. Make sure you bring yourself a water bottle. You can fill it up throughout the day. They've got water bottle stations there. You could buy stuff as well once you get there if you really want to, but you could pack a lunch. No one's sitting there looking through your bag to make sure if you brought in outside food. You're more than able to bring sandwiches and snacks and whatnot to get you through the day. It's a long day. You're walking around. And because you're walking around, comfortable shoes is so important. I've learned this countless times going to the expo that if you don't have the proper footwear, your feet are going to kill you. And it's a long weekend, especially if you're there for the whole weekend or you're there for a couple of days or even all day on like the Saturday and the Friday. They're long, long days. Make sure you're wearing comfy shoes. Do yourself a favor and do that. This is not sneaker con. You don't have to, walk around looking like, you're on a red carpet somewhere. None of us are cool enough in this hobby to be worried about what's on our feet. I'm rocking my ugly ass, comfy ass Hokas all weekend long, and I don't give a bleep. That's honestly one of the silliest things that I like to recommend to people, but one of the most genuine things that I also like to recommend to people. Comfy shoes. Do yourself a favor and wear them.
Yeah, these days are so extremely long that you don't want to get caught. I've seen people wear like I'm not gonna
Or
go
like
into
Vans,
yeah, like
Vans, and like
I've seen worse though. I've seen like straight up flip-flops with like dogs just straight out there. And like that cannot be comfortable at all.
no.
I've seen Yeezy slides. I've seen those big you
Oh,
see those
slides
big
can be comfy though.
no, but like not even a full day of walking around. I've seen people wear those
No.
big boot shoes. I don't know what they're
Oh, the
exactly
big
called.
red boots,
I think they're the Yeezy boots, like the big red boots or the big yellow. Like it's just
moon
shoes that
boots
you
or
look at and
whatever.
you're like, all right, you're not making it the 12 hours, 4 days in a row or 3 days in a row this weekend because your puppies are going to be hurting Sunday at 5 p.m. So personally, I don't know what shoes I'm going to wear just yet. I'll probably actually, that kind of reminds me to
Even
walk
Jordans,
upstairs
like
and
Jordans aren't that
take a
comfortable.
look.
I don't know about you or if you've had Jordans on
No,
your feet,
yeah,
like at going out, like your feet are usually hurt after. Like they're not that
yeah,
comfortable. They're not like the comfort over style is not really the MO for Nike when they're putting these shoes together.
yeah.
So wear something that's going to be comfy on your feet. It will certainly help you get through the weekend. And I got a little honorable mention too. Like they've got the Sport Card Expo app as well, which is very helpful. You can look up to see where every vendor is. So if you're curious, oh, where's Sports Cards GTA? Where are they set up? You can look it up right in the app, and it'll tell you exactly where they are on the floor plan. Maybe you're looking for Laughers table, or you're looking for, M4 cards, you're looking for Mint Ink, or you're looking for whoever, right? Slab Sharks, they're going to be set up doing some stuff. So you can find everything you need in the app. It tells you all the events that are going on throughout the weekend, all those Q&As that are happening, like the one that I'm doing with Spencer Horowitz. I think Rocket Ishmael also on Sunday. I'll be doing
Oh,
a
nice.
Q&A with Rocket Ishmael as well. So that'll be pretty cool. But I know there's a whole bunch of people who are going to be doing, autograph signings, what time those are happening, the Q&A sessions, and there's like, panels too for, I think Mojo Sports is going to be down. The Hockey Card Gong Show are down there. They're going to be doing a panel talking about hockey cards in the hobby. You can go sit in on it. It'll be pretty cool doing that type of stuff too. And all that information will be on the app. So I do recommend downloading that for whoever plans to be going throughout the weekend. Sport Card Expo, you can find it on the App Store. Anything else? Any other honorable mentions, I guess, tips and tricks to survive Expo weekend, Amp?
I think you got just about everything for walking the show. There's a little bit of tips for dealers. I know we got into that. Some of the small ones that I really want to get across was making sure, obviously, you have change, making sure you got a side bag is another big one. Know where your money is, keep it on yourself. That's another big thing that I know a lot of people do. Just very smart to have. Did you have something to say?
No, this is the side bag is something that's just like I've never been a side bag guy. I'm a
See,
bigger dude, so maybe it's not comfortable for me. But everyone walks around with their side bags, and I'm like, yeah, I got pockets. I like I just
see, I've never been a big side bag guy. Like even like anywhere but a card show, you probably I don't think ever catch me wearing a side bag anywhere. The only reason why is because I like to have
it's safe.
everything
It's
on
secure and
me.
it's
Like
safe.
I like to
Yeah.
have it here. It might not be my type of style. Like it's not really exactly what I'm looking to. I mean, either way, it's not a fashion show. But as a vendor, to know when there's so much going on at your table, you
Did you just
have
say
everything on you.
my type of sty? Did you shorten
Wait,
it to sty?
you don't say sty? I always say sty.
No, I don't. I do not.
Okay, I don't.
But
Hey,
anyway.
you've never played hockey then because, all the hockey players know that you gotta have some sty.
Yeah, maybe.
The long laces, the fishbowl, that's sty. The candy cane, William Nylander, tape on the stick, that's all sty.
Okay. All right. All right.
Anyway, let's scrap all this because I wanted to actually get into what I'd be giving away. I got into it a little bit last week, and for those of you that did listen, so the 10th person that comes up to booth 5606, that's where I'll be at. I'm sure Mike will be there a couple times this weekend, stopping by to say what's up, show us some pickups, and kind of the homeroom almost in a sense, if you want to call it. But come up to our table, we're gonna track it. We're looking for the 10th person to say the Haven to us, and they will receive a free, and Michael Distefano does not count as a person saying this, a free Vladimir Guerrero Funko Pop.
Hey.
So pretty sweet, nothing crazy, but valued around $20. Feel like this could be, a nice little piece to walk out with for free. So if you are coming along, the Haven is the code word.
The Haven. All right. So was it 50? What's your booth again?
5606. Booth 5606.
And do you know where that is to help people out?
So it is in the hall. I can pull it up.
In like the secondary hall, I imagine.
Yeah, I actually know exactly where I can pull up this photo, but it is in the secondary hall. We weren't able to get into the main room, which hopefully we could eventually get there, but we know how tough that is to get into that spot.
Laffer got in. That son of a gun.
Hey, he's a good guy in the hobby, so he deserves it. If you are going by the Sports Card Expo and Laffer, make sure to stop by his booth. So here's PSA, here's Beckett. I'm sure those will be two spots that everyone will visit this weekend or at least walk by. So we are just past them right there at booth 5606. So
you're right by the autograph pavilion.
So we are right there. On your way to the pavilion, come stop by booth 5606. Nice. So on the way to get your autograph, come swing by because we'll be there.
Well, that's also near the stage for the Q&As and stuff. So you might be able to just, kind of drop by and listen to my interview with Spencer Horowitz too. I'm going to get a pack of cards and try and open it up with Horowitz and see if we can pull like a Blue Jay or something. I can't remember what his rookie year is. I think it's a couple of years, maybe last year's
Uh,
rookie, but we'll try and pull one. I'll figure it out. I'm gonna try and open up a pack of cards with them too. That'll be nice. But yes, the 10th listener to roll up onto Anthony's booth and tell us the code word Haven will get themselves a free Funko Pop courtesy of Anthony and us here at the Hockey Card Haven podcast. All right. A couple of listener questions as well. I threw out just a little thing on Instagram and on Twitter. If anyone has any questions that we can answer, you guys heading into the weekend, please let us know. We would like to, do a bit of an AMA. So I got a few responses here, Anthony. So why don't we go through them? This one was from Twitter. If you have $1,000, what product or products are you purchasing to crack right now? And does it change if you only have 500?
oof.
What's your
I
answer
mean,
for that?
right now, I'm not a big cracker. I don't open up too many boxes, but I think it'd have to be the new SPA where you could pull a Bedard Future Watch, and it's actually less than 500. I believe valued around 469.
No, it's
I
like
believe is the price.
580,
Is it 580?
569, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so if I were to buy it, I'm gonna go with SPA. Maybe you might be a little slightly over 1,000, but I'm grabbing 2 boxes of it because if you could crack a Bedard Future Watch, I guarantee you could sell it for more than 5,000 maybe at the show. I know we got a little bet that we're gonna get into, but
We
I
do, we do.
guarantee you'll make money if you do pull the
We
Bedard.
we're not in the guaranteeing business on this podcast. I don't like to be in the guaranteed business when we talk about money. I don't like to do that because this is not a financial investment show. This is all fun. But I think that you could certainly buy one of those, buy an SPA and see if you could crack one of those bad boys open for SP Authentic, the one that just dropped last week. And then, I'm a fan. You could get a lure for pretty cheap. You could probably buy a box of Allure from this past year. Try and chase some Bedards there, and you could probably still get some really cheap, like 22, 23 products
Yeah.
still, like credentials for 22, 23. I've seen those kind of go on sale. That's the thing too. You could just get a lot of good wax on sale at the expo. You kind of, hunt, search around, but you could find a lot of really, really solid wax. And remember, for a lot of these 23, 24 products and new 24, 25 products, there's also the Rapper Redemption Program. So for every box you buy, and case you buy, you'll be given a kind of I don't know, like a ticket of some kind, and you take it to the upper deck breaking lounge, and then they'll give you a pack, and you can open it and open up and possibly get some priority signings and some redemptions and some autograph redemptions inside of those packs. So keep that in mind too for those who are buying, to make sure you buy from a diamond dealer so you can get those opportunities. All right, another question from Twitter. You guys are always talking about the Pedersen glow up last Expo. Who do you guys think will be the hot seller this weekend at Expo? Good question. Very good question. I think there's two guys. I'll say one of them for now, and then I think you could come in and possibly might have the same one. But I think Cole Caulfield is one of them. He's off to an unbelievable start to the year. He's got 10 goals already. And he checks all the boxes. Goal scorer, Montreal Canadiens, big time market. He's a big time player. He's got a low gem rate when it comes to PSA 10s too. That was a tough year to grade. So there's a lot of factors that go towards, him being a popular player in the market, and when it's tough to grade also helps with the prices. So I think Cole Caulfield, if he continues, plus Saturday night, Hockey Night in Canada, he plays the Toronto Maple Leafs. All eyes are going to be on that game that night, which means that next Sunday, if someone goes off in that game, prices are going to rise for those players, and it could possibly be Cole Caulfield. So that's one guy I think we could see being a pretty hot commodity this weekend at the Expo, and
Yeah.
plays in Montreal.
Yeah. I mean,
They
Cole
love their
Caulfield.
hockey cards.
Caulfield's always been the guy for me that checks all the boxes. Montreal goal scorer, very popular, flashy, great off the ice. The only thing that's happened now is his prices have really dipped. We saw him at around $150 for a raw card just about a season ago, and then obviously a little bit of a slower season last year, and he's really picked it up this year. I think a lot of people are going to be looking to rebuy back into some
Mhm.
Caulfield stock. But for me in particular, this weekend, I think Kirill Kaprizov, the start that he's had has just been unreal for the Minnesota Wild. He is seriously the heartbeat of that franchise on a really good team. I mean, a really slept on team with a line combination that he's been on. Boldy, Marco Rossi, and Kirill Kaprizov. It's been unreal. Eriksson Ek on that second line. It's very fun to watch in Minnesota Wild. And his prices have slowly creeped up. We're starting to see his raws go for around 65 to 80 when they were usually sitting around $50. And now his PSA 10s have finally come back to over $200. So
Yeah,
I think he's a very,
220. So
very
selling
hot player that
selling for
people.
220. Yeah, so he's certainly someone who's picking up. I think Caulfield also 250 right now he's up to. So they're already starting to get that bump pre-Expo. If they keep her going for Expo, I think that they'll be hot commodities. So those are the two players that I also thought were going to be. I think Kaprizov and Cole Caulfield might be those two players. Okay, another question that we had from Instagram. This was an interesting one. Hey guys, I've recently inherited a ton of 90s cards from my grandparents who owned a
Nice.
convenience store in the city. Any ideas on values? I've opened some and got star rookies like Sundin, Lidstrom, Forsberg, etc. So this isn't necessarily, I guess, a question that helps you for Expo, but what I would say is 90s cards aren't really. He did send a photo along with it. It was like O-Pee-Chee Premier and, like, just regular 90s stuff, not really
Mhm.
worth a whole lot. I would say you could sell them individually as opposed to opening them up. Sell them individually and possibly someone will pay 15, $20 a box for the nostalgia of opening up 90s cards. But I don't think that the play here is to open them up and grade these rookies because there's so much of them. Like the supply
Yeah.
and demand of 90s cards, like it's still so much out there. Like this guy said his grandparents owned a convenience store in the 90s and they had cases of this stuff still left over that they just found in a storage bin. So that story is 10x all around the world, like 100x around the world.
Yeah.
So there's not much value in this stuff. Sadly, it's not like finding old boxes of first edition Pokemon from the 90s. That would have been very nice. My maybe go to Expo and look for the people who have all of this vintage wax or 90s wax that they're selling and ask them, do you want to buy these in bulk at whatever it is, $10 a pop, however much money you're comfortable selling it with? That to me that's what I would do if I
Yeah.
had them. It would take a very long time to find people who want them. I would probably bulk sell them.
Yeah, another thing is too, if you are gonna bulk sell them, depending on how many cases you have, which I do second that. I think it's the best idea rather than trying to crack everything, grade it, sell it individually. It's gonna take you forever and you might
Yeah,
only profit little to none when your
dude.
cost is realistically zero. Um,
Well, I mean, like I've sold a Sundin rookie card for like $2 the other day.
yeah,
Lidstrom
yeah.
rookie card for like
It's tough.
literally $2. Like
It's tough.
it is tough, and it's 90s cards. People thought in the 90s they could put it away. It's gonna be worth so much money. Nope, should have been putting away the dinosaurs and the flying
GI Joes.
dragons and GI
GI Joe.
Joes and well, not GI Joes, but the Pokemon is what really ended up. The talking turtles and stuff is
Yeah.
what really became worth a heck of a lot of money in the future. But yeah, that would be my advice on that one. Another one from Instagram from Wayne Kelly, who I know is a weekly will listener to the show. So appreciate you, Wayne. Thank you for
What up?
throwing out the question. He had a two-parter, actually. He said, what are some value cards to look out for with some
Ooh.
future potential? And then he also said, would you recommend taking a walk through the show first, then going back and checking out boosts that interest you instead of spontaneously spending right away? So let's answer the second question first. And then you've got a top five young gun pickups, and you can
Yeah.
answer that question with that in a moment. My recommendation, Yes, like, take a little bit of a it really depends what your plan is, I guess. Like, know what you're trying to do when you're going there, I guess, is kind of the more important thing. If you don't know what you're looking for, then yes, just kind of walk around. But if you have a plan and you know what you want to get, whether it's a certain player, maybe you want to, like, one year I wanted to get a Sidney Crosby BGS 9.5 Young Guns. That's what I wanted to get. So I went around and yeah, I it's a card there's a lot of them, so it wasn't necessarily like, okay, if I find one, I have to buy it. I went around, I asked prices, and then at the end, I was like, okay, this one was the best value, and I went back and I bought it. So it depends what it is, what you're looking to do, I suppose. But if you're flipping and you're just walking around trying to find stuff that's good value, and you see a card that you think is maybe 20, 30 bucks under current value that other people are paying for it, scoop it up right away, right? Then you can spontaneously scoop it up because I can move this and probably make 30 or 40 bucks within the day, right? So that stuff you can pick up for sure.
Yeah, it ties into the conversation we had earlier about just being prepared and have a plan too. Even though you might have a general idea of what you want to buy, I do think there is value of walking around, seeing what's out there first, maybe keep track on your phone on a notepad, take photos with booth numbers, ask the person, say, "Hey, what booth is this, by the way? I'm just going to put this down in a little notepad to look back and kind of walk back to." Because you don't want to go out first table spontaneously buy a Clayton Keller Future Watch Auto because it's undervalued, it looks great, and you want to grade it, and out of nowhere you're like, "Well, I just spent the $100 I had for today, and it's all gone." But
Yeah.
either way, I do think that walking around is a good idea. Go enjoy, embrace the expo, see what's out there, and then really crack down and start saying, "All right, now I'm going to start looking what I want to spend my money on." And, it might take a couple hours really, because at the end of the day, there's so much to the expo. It's so much fun that you're realistically not going to catch everything. So yeah, walk around, start your day off with a nice little walk, talk to people, chat, and just really enjoy it.
His first question: what are some value cards to look out for with some future potential? I think the best way to answer that question, Anthony, is for you to get into your top 5 young gun pickups to look for in the dollar bin. So I'll kind of give you the floor. You put together a nice list of 5 guys who you think still could be floating around in the dollar bin, that you could pick up for a pretty cheap price, that are off to a good start this season, and are seeing their cards start to trend upwards, and you might be able to still find them pretty cheap.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that set up at the expo. They only set up twice a year. They set up in the spring and they set up now. And pretty much the opportunity for people to look through bins and find valuable young guns that have moved up in price in the past 6, 7 months since the last show in April, May, it's still there. So these 5 players are some of the hottest in the NHL right now that I think could maybe creep in a couple dollar bins if you really have your eye out there. Me in particular, I might have a couple in there. I might put a couple in my bin just for a couple
Where you say
listeners.
a couple Kale
Nice.
McCarrs for $1? Is that what's about to come out
Yeah,
your mouth?
maybe not Makar, but like an Ovi or something like that. Like maybe like I'll toss like an Ovi in or something. We'll
Oh,
see.
yeah, just some scrub, yeah.
Either way, but number one, Connor McMichael, he's playing absolutely amazing right now for the Washington Capitals. I think he could be probably the favorite to for sure find in the dollar bins, along with another player that I'll get into. Connor McMichael's been amazing. I think his prices should be around $5 ish per young gun, but you could easily find him in the dollar bin. I don't think you're going to have too much trouble not finding that. So keep an eye out for Connor McMichael. He's been playing amazing, and I think you should find his young gun. Second up,
20
Samuel
really
Urton.
quick really quickly, he's a 21, 22 young gun, Connor McMichael?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Second up for me is going to be Samuel Urton, who randomly I text you just the other day. He had 2 shutouts in 1 week, which was unreal for him as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers. His young guns go for around $25 to $30, which really stuck out to me because I could have sworn I've seen this guy in $2 bins at the last expo. So if you are walking around the expo, take a look out for Samuel Urson Young Guns. He is, I believe, a 2023-24 Young Gun.
22, 23, I wanna say.
I believe, but he has a lot of opportunity in the value bins this expo. So if you are walking around looking for the cheap young guns, I believe you should find a couple in there, and it could really be a diamond in the rough. So keep an eye out for Samuel Urson. Third up, I got Lucas Dostal, starting goaltender in Anaheim right now, who's just been playing lights out. He's going for around $5 to $10, but there was a point where people really gave up on him and dropped him in the dollar bins. I saw him for around $2 to $3 at a point, and I think you could find him in that $1 to $3 young gun bin. So there's a lot of opportunity with him left as the starting goaltender of Anaheim. Fourth, Bobby Brink, a player for Philadelphia who's been playing pretty good. I think there's a lot of opportunity still for him and his prices to go up. He is still around $1, $2 for a young gun, but I remember when he was going for $5 solid per
Yeah.
young gun. So I think he will slowly start to creep up in price if you do pick him up for $1. Keep an eye out for him. And last guy, one of the best performing fantasy players, if you did pick him up early, Anton Lundell has been lights out for the Florida Panthers. And another guy who's going for around $5 to $10 right now, but used to go for around $2 to $3, maybe $1. You picked him up. I do think there should be a couple Anton Lundells maybe dancing around in the dollar bin. So those are my five. To repeat them, Connor McMichael, Samuel Urson, Lucas Dostal, Anton Lundell, and Bobby Brink. So keep an eye out for those 5 young guns this weekend.
Yeah, and McMichael 21-22, Lundell 21-22, and then Urson, Dostal, and Bobby Brink all 22-23 Young Guns class
Yeah.
for those other three. And then the final question we got. So there you go, Wayne. If you're going there, hopefully you enjoy the hunt for those cards. And the final one we got is from my boy Brandon. He texted me and said, Do you think you're going to be owing Anthony lunch this weekend? Bedsy Future Watch Auto still going for stupid prices. I might be owing you lunch. You
Hey,
might
there you
be
go.
right. I think yeah, I guess the hobby remains undefeated in overpaying for the hype train that is Connor Bedard. To this day, we're a week past almost release, and we're still seeing Future Watch Autos sell for $5,000 a piece, which I thought was insanity. I thought, okay, on opening day maybe, but after a week, no way, it's got to drop in half. Nah, it's still going pretty strong. So yeah, I think we will see some $5,000 sales maybe at Expo,
There
and
you
I
go.
might have to buy you lunch from last week's podcast, Anth. That might
Hey,
end up happening.
it was a pretty good bet by me. I might put you on the spot here, but I want to offer you I want to offer something right now. I know people out there have played blackjack before. I know you've played before too. But at the
Plenty.
casino, when you get offered or you can take even money, I'm going to offer you even money right now to withdraw your bet, but you owe me breakfast from Tim Hortons and you got to bring it right to booth 5606. Medium double with a farmer's wrap, half the price of what lunch would be. I'll take my even money. I'll offer you that.
I'll take that for sure.
Okay.
I'll take
All
that.
right. Okay.
I'll take that because I think this is gonna end up being the case anyway. So instead of buying lunch, I'll buy you breakfast. So
Hey, there we
that
go. I'll
works.
take my
That
even money.
works. Yeah, that works. So yeah, I do think that I'm going to be owing Anthony some food at some point this weekend. I do believe that is going to happen. All right, pal. Well, I think that'll do it for us pretty much today. Did you get any pickups this past weekend actually, right before Expo, or was this it was kind of the calm before the storm, right?
I mean, I'm
I
waiting. Go ahead.
I got one card and one card only, and I literally picked it up about an hour before we started recording.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
know that.
yeah, decent card, just nothing special.
Who is that guy?
I don't know, some Wayne Regretzky ish kind of rookie.
Yeah,
I don't know, some
that's all
some
right.
guy, some scrub. Yeah, picked
Yeah.
up this Wayne Gretzky rookie card.
Not
Not in
bad.
the best shape, obviously. Like it's kind of banged up for sure. But we'll see. Again, plan I think is to go to Expo and get it graded. And even
Right.
if it comes back a one or a two, there's still profits to be made for a quick flip on that one. So that might be the plan for that card come Expo. But that was the only pickup that I had. I had a wedding this weekend, so I was very much not in card mode. Uh, and it's the calm before the storm. I mean, I decided, all right, let's just keep the money for next weekend, and the money's going to be flowing. The good times are going to be rolling. I can't
Cool.
wait, pal.
Yeah, I mean, jokes aside, that's a beauty card. I hope you do grade it because that's going to be a lot of fun to see what it does come back. I didn't really pick up too
I'm
much
not
this week.
expecting a high grade, but yeah.
Yeah, but even still, just to get it in a 1, maybe a 2, fight for that 3. I mean, we'll see what happens. Anything could happen on Expo weekend, but I wanted to pick up in particular a little bit of vintage. So I picked I'm still waiting for it in the mail. So I picked up Yzerman rookie, Lemieux rookie, Messier rookie, Marcel Dion rookie, which I'm not really
Ooh.
looking to sell. I'd rather get that autograph because he does come by the show. So I'll probably get that autograph for the PC. And then I
Mhm.
believe this is a Mike Bossy rookie as well. And the last one was a throw-in, a Billy Smith. So
Ooh,
nothing
Billy Smith.
too crazy, but enough where,
The
if
Lemieux
some
rookie's pretty solid. Pretty
yeah,
solid, pal.
I mean, enough where if people come by, I don't know. I mean, I have such a crazy just like I'm just so focused for the expo where I just want to have everything organized and I wanted to be able to have some vintage if someone walks around and they're like, I'm not really into young guns or any future watch. I'm looking for a Lemieux rookie. I'm looking for a
Yeah.
Mike Bossy rookie. I want the vintage stuff. So I wanted to make sure I got that in. It should be in the mail. Actually, that reminds me, I should probably walk out once we're done this. But either way, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
So Anthony's gonna have a little bit of something for everyone at his table. Again, booth number
5606. Tell
10.
us the Haven. 10th person gets this little Vladdy for their room. Hey, maybe you could even sell it on the floor, get some money, or do a trade up challenge. Either way, 10th person. Mike
You
doesn't
mentioned
count.
you mentioned the trade up challenge. I'm curious. Kid comes up to you. Y- You helping him out in the trade up challenge?
Yeah, I think so.
Is,
I
is
think
there
I
a
will.
limit though? Is there a limit?
I mean,
Like
no,
first kid, second kid, third kid's like okay, but then once you get to like five, so like over the weekend, you'll have 48 different kids coming up to you looking
yeah,
to do the trade up challenge.
yeah.
Feel like it gets a little,
I mean, we'll
little.
see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, no, I'm not looking to trade. If a kid comes up with a dollar, $2 card that I like, come up with a Patrick Kane card that I might like for $2. I might trade you a $5, $10 card just to help you out. But if you're looking to trade a $50 card into an $120 card, I'm probably not going to be able to help you there, but we'll see what happens. I mean, I want people to come by the booth. So if you are able and you are in the area, booth 5606, and hopefully we can get a lot of deals done this weekend.
Yep. So Anthony and I will both be there all weekend long, beginning Thursday all the way through till Sunday at the International Center in Mississauga. It's Expo. It's Christmas for hockey card collectors. That's what I like to call it. It's the true haven of hockey cards. That will do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube, and also for you audio wise on the go listeners, you can listen to us also on Spotify. Again, enjoy the weekend. If you see either of us walking around, make sure you say hello. We would love to hear the feedback from the listeners. And again, 10th person to go to Anthony's booth, say the code word Haven, to get yourself a free Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Funko Pop. 10th person, make sure you get it done. All right, that does it for us here today. We'll be back next Wednesday to debrief what went down at Expo with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.